released every week on the HuggingFace Hub. HuggingFace Hub is an open platform that hosts models, datasets, and machine learning demos that are called Hugging Face Spaces. How do you find a model that you need for your project? Let's head over to the HuggingFace Hub to find out. You'll find models suitable for many tasks on Models page. The number of models here may seem overwhelming. It's a good idea to begin your search by identifying what task you're working on in machine learning terms. In this course, you'll see plenty examples of tasks. Let's say I want to do automatic speech recognition. Let's choose it from the left side panel. There are still many models to pick from, but you can narrow your search down further. Let's say you want a model to transcribe speech in French. You can choose your language here. And let's say you want a model with a permissive license. By permissive, I mean a license that allows you to use the model for most kinds of applications, including commercial use. This leaves you with much fewer options. You can sort by downloads, if you want to find models that are commonly used for this task, or if you'd like to try a recent model that the community is excited about, sort by trending. Before picking one model or the other, check out their model cards. A well-written model card is like a README file for a model. It contains a lot of useful information, such as model's architecture, how it was trained, what limitations it has, and so on. As you can see here, models can have checkpoints with varying number of parameters. So we say that this type of model comes in different sizes. Checkpoint refers to the saved model, including the pre-trained weights and all the necessary configurations. We often say we load a model, but technically speaking, we load a model checkpoint. Some checkpoints have dozens of millions of parameters. Others have a billion or a few billions of parameters. Depending on your hardware, you may not be able to run the largest checkpoints. So let me show you a rule of thumb that I use to estimate how much memory I will need for a model. We'll go to Files and Versions. Here you can find a file called PyTorch model bin. This file stores the trained weights of the model, and you can easily see its size. Multiply that size by 1.2, in other words, add 20% on top, and this is approximately how much memory you'll need to run this model. Now let me quickly show you an alternative way to find a model for a task, a dataset, or a demo. Let's go to the tasks page. On this page, you can learn about different machine learning tasks. Let's choose a task that we're interested in. Again, let's go with automatic speech recognition. On this page, you can learn about the task itself. So this is a great way to discover machine learning tasks that you have not worked with yet. You can also find suggestions for models that will work with this task, datasets you can use, and find some demos where you can play with models that perform this task. Note that Whisper by OpenAI is suggested as the top choice here. Let's go back to this models page. To load this model from the Hugging Face Hub, you can use the Transformers library. Notice the Using Transformers button. If you click it, you'll find two helpful code snippets showing how to load the model checkpoint. In this course, you'll be working with models using the pipeline object, as in the first example. The pipeline object offers a high-level abstraction to solve tasks. It also takes care of complex pre-processing of inputs to match the model's expectations. For example, some audio models expect the input audio to come in the shape of a log-mel spectrogram. Text typically needs to be converted into so-called tokens, and images often need to be properly resized and normalized. With the pipeline, you won't need to do any of these pre-processing steps by hand. Now that you know how to find models for your tasks and where to find the pipeline code snippet, let's build your first application. Let's go on to the next lesson.
Hi, in this lesson and the next few lessons, you will use the Hugging Face Transformers library to perform various natural language processing tasks. In this lesson, you will build your own chatbot using an open source model built by Meta. Let's get started. We talked about natural language processing, but what is the definition? NLP is a field of linguistic and machine learning, and it is focused on everything related to human language. We saw significant progress in this field thanks to the transformer architecture from the well-known paper Attention is All You Need in 2017, and since then, this architecture is now the core of many state-of-the-art machine learning models nowadays. In this lesson, we will be using the transformer library and in particular the pipeline function. So as you can see, I just imported the pipeline function from the transformer library. For this classroom, the libraries have already been installed for you. If you're running this on your own machine, you can install the transformers library by running the following. We don't need to actually run this command, so we can comment it out. Now we have everything we need to create our own chatbot. As you can see, we created the conversational pipeline using a model from Facebook called Leaderboards. We decided to use this model because the model is very small and performs quite well. We will only need 1.6 gigabytes to load it. We can't use Llama 2 or any other big models since we won't be able to load it. This function pipeline takes as the first argument the task. As you can see, we've put conversational. And for the second argument, we need to pass the model. We can't use any other big models such as Llama 2 because it will exceed the 4 gigabytes that's available in this classroom. Now that the chatbot is loaded, let's pass a user message. We'll ask the chatbot what are some fun activities I can do in the winter. To pass the user message inside the chatbot, we need first to put it into a conversation object. So let's import this object. You just need to pass the user message inside the conversation object, and you need everything now to pass the conversation to the chatbot. And as you can see, the assistant responded, I like snowboarding and skiing. What do you like to do in winter? Feel free to change the user message, asking, for example, ideas about a birthday, things to do during the summer, anything you ever wanted to ask a chatbot. Now let's step back and review what other NLP tasks you can perform with open source model. You will also see how you can search the HuggingFace Hub for a suitable model for various tasks. NLP has many applications. You must have heard about ChatGPT, the OpenAI chatbot, or the open source equivalent Hugging Chat, which lets the user select any open source language model, such as Llama 2 or Mistral, and converse with it. NLP is also present in many tools we use every day. We can think about auto-completion in document, translation tool, or even spam filters. NLP has many tasks. You will go through a few of them in the next few lessons, but feel free to try the rest on your own. You will go through the text generation task to build the chatbot, sentence similarity, summarization, and machine translation. One question remains, which model should we choose? There are so many open source models. To browse the model, you can use the HuggingFace Hub. I will show you how I decided to select the Facebook model for our conversational pipeline. We go to the HuggingFace Hub on the model section. We can add filters. So we'll choose the conversational task right here. Conversational task is the task of generating conversational text that is relevant, coherent, and knowledgeable given a prompt. These models have application in chatbots and as a part of voice assistants. As you can see right now, the models are sorted by trend. We can change that to the most liked. As you can see, we have so many different models. Since in the classroom we can only fit 4 gigabytes, we need to choose a smaller model. The second model seems to be a great choice because it's quite small, since it only has 400 million parameters. We see that it was downloaded a lot of times and it has a lot of likes. So let's check this one. We can go to the files.
You can see that the model is only 730 megabytes.
Now we can just click using transformers to learn how to load it. And this command should be pretty familiar with you. As you can see, he's telling us to use the pipeline object, to use the conversational task and load the model by putting the name of the model here. For example, let's ask the chatbot, what else do you recommend? And as you can see, the assistant answer has nothing to do with winter activities. It doesn't remember the earlier conversation. The right way to do that is to add a message to the conversation. LLMs don't naturally keep a memory of your previous messages, but when you're using transformer object, you can add follow-up messages and the conversation object will keep your previous prompt as well as the LLM's response, so that the LLMs will converse with you as if it remembers your earlier conversation. Let's try that. As you can see, we've added a new input to our conversation. What else do you recommend? To the earlier conversation. Now let's pass this conversation to our chatbot. As you can see, the assistant's answer shows some memory of the previous conversation about winter activities. The response may not be very insightful because the model is very small. There are many state-of-the-art open source models that can do quite well if you have the hardware to run them. Let's take a look at some of these on HuggingFace Hub. At HuggingFace, we have the open LLM leaderboards that enables users, companies to evaluate open source LLMs and chatbots. So let's see what are the most performing chatbots. We will only select the pre-trained one first. The pre-trained model are models that are trained from scratch. So most of the models that you will see at the top of the leaderboard are coming from large companies, since not everyone has the compute capability to train those big models. So as you can see some familiar names with, for example, the new Mixtral models, the Falcon model, the E model, and the QN model. There's a lot of debate surrounding this leaderboard. People are skeptical if the benchmark we choose are representative of the performance of the models. We know that they are not perfect, but we will be adding more and more benchmark so that we are able to evaluate fairly all the models. But if you want to have a look at another leaderboard, you can take a look at the LLMs chatbot arena. This leaderboard collected over 200,000 human preferences votes to rank LLMs with the LO ranking system. We have proprietary models such as GPT-4, BART, or Claude. But as you can see in this list, we also have open source models which are catching quite fast the proprietary models. As you can see here in the list, we have the Mixtral model, which have Apache 2.0 license. What it means is that it allows you to use, modify, and distribute the models. You can commercialize it, use it everywhere. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to summarize long documents and translate text from English to French. Let's go on to the next lesson.